Yo YouTube, this is my video for Tuesday the 18th of June. Quite a struggle today. Here are my stats for today's work. Based on an average fuel price of 13.41 pence per mile, I have driven 271 miles today. And I've worked for exactly 11 hours. On fuel, from that mileage, I've spent £36.34, and I made a gross amount of money from 3 CX jobs of £170, 170. And that means that today I've made net after fuel £134, 134. So it's been a bit of a struggle. I am going to go home now. It is only 5:30. I'll be home within about an hour and a half. I have waited around for an hour in my last point, and I didn't win any jobs. So let me tell you how that day panned out. Now, from my last video, you'll know that I had a job booked in from the night from yesterday, and in my video for Monday, I told you the time, and I deliberately told you the time I thought it was. But as it turned out, it wasn't the right time. And I thought about what happened, and I can explain what happened. It makes sense in my head as to what was going on. So I wanted to go back 24 hours or so, and I won a job off the CX, which was from Spalding to Coventry. It was right just about 5:30 I won the job, so it was basically 24 hours ago. I was quite tired, and I was very relieved to win that job, and so I selected accept, and what I saw was 8 to 9, and so I assumed that's okay, I can be there for 9, and I'm not very far from it, so I'm a bit of a lion. Unfortunately, it was 8 to 8, and so I had misread it and didn't check this morning or even last night that I was right. I do usually double check the times, but I was quite tired yesterday and just went to bed quite early. Anyway, that's what happened. I was getting ready for the job. It was 8:15. I had a phone call from Gibber asking me where my driver was. I explained that the driver was me, and that I thought it was an 9 o'clock pickup. I apologised, and then said I'd be there within 15 minutes. So he said he'd let the customer know that I'd be there at 8:30. And that was that. So I rushed to get ready, and luckily I'd prepared sandwiches from the night before, so they were ready to put in my bag. And then I rushed out with the help of my lovely partner, who made me some porridge, put it into a pot for me to take with me for my breakfast. That's really useful later on in the day. So I just rushed out of the house. Luckily, it wasn't very far away. It was 12 minutes. It was about 6 dead miles. So I arrived on site at 8:32, and then found the items, got them loaded up, and shut them down, and then I was off site by 8:45. The people at the pickup point didn't mention anything about being late, so I was pleased about that. And so I then made my way towards Coventry. So what had started off as being a really nice, easy start became very quite stressful quickly. Although when you're 12 minutes away, you can't go any any quicker than 12 minutes. No matter how fast you go, it's country lanes, so you just have to get there and hope that there's no one too annoyed. So I have chosen to ironically entitle my video 30 minutes waiting time. It's not to say that I think it's good to give your customers 30 minutes waiting for you. That's certainly not good, but it's just a bit of a light-hearted approach to today's mistake. And obviously I very rarely, I've never been that late before. I don't think. I can't think of any time I've been that late before, and so it's not something I do very regularly. Yeah, I do take punctuality seriously, but I'm not the best. I'm not someone that arrives somewhere 10 minutes early. Well, sometimes I do, but not in the morning. When it comes to morning jobs, I'm not a 10-minute early job sort of guy. I try to aim to be there on time, which isn't necessarily the best thing to do, I know, but mornings are quite tough. Anyway, moving on. So, got this job delivered, and I arrived at the drop-off point at 10:45, I think. Yeah, and then I was offloaded within 10 minutes. It's quite interesting because I actually drove my vehicle into the warehouse that they were. So I was going to a place, they were redeveloping it from a glass factory to something else, like some electronics factory. It's completely empty inside, it's a shell of a building, but very cavernous, very big. I was able to drive my van into it and into another part of the building, which obviously in the future you won't be able to drive into. I dropped off my items and then I was out of there. And again, the person I was delivering to didn't mention anything about being late. He was not bothered about the time I got there. So in the end, no problems, thankfully, for the customers. So I was then looking for a job, and I was in Coventry. It was reasonably busy, but not like it wasn't pigging. There's a few jobs. I quoted about 8 or 9 jobs, so there's enough to quote on. Nothing perfect. And I got a job at the end going from Hinckley, which was 12 miles from where I was and 17 minutes away, going to Matlock. It was a small van job. I got the call at 11:20, so I'd been looking for 25 minutes before I got that job, and I bid on that job £50 for 63 loaded miles. And I bid that price because I'd put a lot of bids at £60 and not got anywhere, so I had to go a bit lower than I usually would want to go, but I got that quite quickly. And I was really close. I was about 17 minutes away from Hinckley. So the job said the pickup was at 12 o'clock, and I arrived at 11:40, so I was 20 minutes early on this job. I utilised their toilet facilities in the time that I was waiting, and then waited for them to be ready, and they gave me a single small package to deliver for their own contractors that were on site in Matlock. Excuse me, so tired again. So I made my way towards Matlock. It was only an hour and a quarter's journey, I think. No, maybe it was 2 hours journey. Anyway, I arrived on site at 1:25. The guy came out to meet me. I passed him the package was in my van. He signed my pod, and I was off site looking at another job by 1:30. Now Matlock is a beautiful place to deliver to, but it's not great for work. And around Matlock, there's there's quite a lot of places that do have work. I had a decision to make. Would I go towards Stockport, or would I go towards Derby, or would I go towards Nottingham, or even would I go towards Chesterfield and Sheffield? So in each direction there was work opportunities, and I stayed there for about 10 minutes, then I moved on. I was bidding on jobs, stopped, bid on jobs, moved on, and I ended up thinking that the bulk of the jobs were coming from sort of Sutton-in-Ashfield, Alfreton, Derby, Nottingham area. So I headed towards Alfreton, but I stopped every so often, bid on jobs, I stopped for about 2 or 3 minutes, bid on jobs, then moved on. So I could really concentrate on getting some good, decent bids in. But I got to Alfreton, it was 10 miles from Matlock, stayed at the Tesco's that was there, and I arrived there at 2:20. I sat in my van, bidding on jobs. It got quiet about 2:30. I bid on as many jobs as I could, but I was in a bit of a quandary because I had a choice now. I could either go for a couple of short jobs to stay roughly in the area I was in, or take one large job, which I might end up too far away from home. And so I did resist some of the longer jobs, and I ended up getting a job, but it wasn't until I didn't get the call until 3 o'clock. And it was a job picking up in Derby, which was 25 miles away, about half an hour's drive, and it's taking a load. Oh, there's an accident on this other road, or something. Well, it's fire engines anyway. It was taking a load to Leicester, which is 20 miles away. It's not a lot of. Oh, it's just a little rear ending of that white car and that blue car. So it was a small van job. I had to go down to. In the end, I bid £40 for that job because I was getting quite desperate for work, and I won it quite quickly. So it was. I made my way straight away towards Derby. It was half an hour, well, 32 minutes away. I arrived at 3:45. And I did a bit faffing about finding the right door. I went to the kind of back of the door where the reception is, a back door where the reception side of the reception side of the building, and it wasn't there. There was a door open. I asked them, they said go to the goods inn. So I had to go back out to the main road, back to the goods inn. So by the time I collected the parcel, it's 4:15. And there's one small package going to Leicester, 20 miles away. And the lady who gave it to me said, "Oh, by the way, they close at 4. Good luck." Now, the pickup time was said before 4 o'clock. So I was there in time, but there was no way I could get to Leicester in that 15 minutes. So I took the parcel, got my van, quickly uploaded the CX, and started heading towards Leicester. And I rang the shipper and I just explained the situation, that I'd got the load now, but I have been told that the customer is closing at 4 o'clock. Can you make contact with them and let me know what we want to do? But in the meantime, I would just drive towards Leicester, rather than sort of wasting any time waiting for a call back. And so I got to Leicester as soon as I could. I arrived at the drop-off point at 12 minutes past 6, and it was clearly all locked up and closed. No vehicles there, and it was all lights off. So I did ring the bell, did knock on the door, but there's no answer. So at this point I called the shipper, and then he asked me to deliver to a neighbour. So I delivered to the neighbour across the road who was in, and I left paperwork for the letterbox saying what I left So it was now, once I'd done all that and updated the CX app, it was 4:20, and I thought I had a good chance, because I was in Leicester, of getting a job somewhere else. I was, when I left Tesco's in Alfreton, I'd been sitting there for an hour and a half. It seemed like it anyway. And that sitting there was so tiring. So it really took it out of me sitting there trying to concentrating on bidding on jobs all the time. So it was at this point of the day on my way to Leicester where I was quite tired. Oh, that car's in the wrong lane, blue car. And now I'm in the wrong lane, so I'm going to go all around this roundabout because of that. I'm sure I'm going to get lots of comments about being in the wrong lane. Anyway, it happens. So, perfectly safe. Didn't have to beep anyone or go in front of somebody. There was somebody to my left who overtook me. So going on about it's no issue at all, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so trying to find a job, and I was sitting outside where I delivered on the industrial estate in Leicester. I'd been on a job. I was 5 minutes away from it. It was going to Market Harborough. It would have been a perfect job. But £40 on that, and didn't get it for a small van job. I put other bits on and didn't get anything. While I was waiting there, I did get a job for the morning, and that was quite interesting. Quite an interesting one. So I put a bid on, and then the guy called me and said, "I'll give you this amount for it." And I said, "Oh, fine, okay," and just accepted it, and then hung up. Well, we hung up, and I couldn't remember because I put so many bids on whether that was more or less than I'd bid. I was hoping I hadn't just accepted a job less than I'd bid, but because of the sort of tone and the way he said it, I suspected it wasn't that way around. And in the end, I did get £20 more than I bid. But I'll talk about that tomorrow. So I got a job for the morning, and I was waiting for a job from Leicester. Got another bid in from Leicester to Leicester. Didn't get that either. So by 5:30, I just thought I'd give up, try to find another job. I was only an hour and a half away from home, so it's not very far. It's about 50 miles, hour and a half, and that's what I'm doing now. I'm driving home with a job in the bag for tomorrow. Quite tired again, but I feel righteously tired. I feel like I've earned my money today. It's been a bit of a grind. It's not a lot of money, I must say, but it adds all else to the pot, and it allows me to stay on the road for another day, for where maybe it's better. So I'm due to be back about 7:15, and then I probably will get an early night here tonight because I'm quite tired. So that's that. Nothing else I want to talk about really at this point. Quite a short video. Another lovely day on the road. No rain, no poor weather. So that has been another benefit. It's really light, really nice, easy driving conditions. So I know that it will not always be like that. So I do appreciate it when it is this sort of temperature, this sort of brightness. Okay, let's leave it there. So I hope that you're all doing as well as you want to do. I hope that you're successful, however you choose to define that word. Thank you very much for listening to my video. I shall see you tomorrow. Farewell, friends.